Don't talk about your life. Not because you're cold, but because today people don't listen to understand. They listen to judge, compare, and put a price on your peace. Every detail you share is a door you leave half open, and not everyone walks in with good intentions. Think about this. How many times did you feel strong until you said it out loud? A plan, a change, a dream, and suddenly doubt appeared. Not because it was impossible, but because you exposed it before it had roots. The Stoics knew it. What you protect in silence grows. What you display too early weakens. In this video, you're going to learn 7 things you should never tell anyone if you want to preserve your energy, your reputation, and your direction. And stay until the end because the last one is the most common and also the one that ruins the most lives without people realizing it. The modern world rewards oversharing. It praises people who explain everything, post everything, confess everything. But Stoicism was never a philosophy of performance. It was a philosophy of inner sovereignty. Epictetus taught that we are not disturbed by things, but by the views we take of them. When you hand your inner world to random ears, you also hand them the power to shape your views. Their reactions become your mirror. Their doubts become your doubts. Their envy becomes a fog over your focus. Silence in the Stoic sense is not hiding, it is choosing what deserves access to you. Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself like a man guarding a fortress, not because he feared people, but because he respected his mind. He understood that a calm soul is built by discipline, and discipline begins with the tongue. You don't need to narrate your path to prove you're on it. You need to walk it. Thing 1. Your biggest goals and future plans. A goal is like a seed. The moment you announce it, you expose it to the weather of other people's opinions. Some will call it unrealistic, others will pretend to support you, but secretly enjoy imagining you fail. And even the kind ones can do damage, because they'll project their limits onto your future. There's another trap that's even quieter, the dopamine of declaration. When you tell people what you're going to do, your brain gets a small reward as if the work is already done. You feel accomplished before you've earned it. The hunger softens, the urgency fades. That's why so many dreams die right after the announcement, not after the first obstacle. Marcus Aurelius warned in his own way not to waste time talking about what a good person should be. Being one, the principle is the same. Don't waste your fuel describing what you will become. Build in private. Let your results introduce you. If your plan is real, it doesn't need applause at the beginning. It needs protection at the beginning. Work in silence. Let time and consistency do what words can't. A seed doesn't grow because it's admired. It grows because it's buried. Thing 2. Your good deeds and acts of virtue. A good action loses something the moment it's performed for an audience. The Stoics treated virtue as its own reward, not as a brand, not as a currency, not as a way to secure praise. If you help someone and then feel the itch to tell people, pause and ask yourself why. If the act was pure, the silence will feel easy. If the act was mixed with ego, the silence will feel like hunger. Marcus Aurelius compared virtue to nature itself. A vine produces grapes. A bee makes honey. Not for applause, but because it is in their nature to do so. In the same way, a person with character does what is right because it is right. That's the calm power of integrity. It doesn't need witnesses. When you keep your good deeds private, you gain something more durable than compliments. You gain self-respect. You gain inner alignment. And in a world that constantly pulls you outward, that alignment becomes a kind of armor. Thing 3. Your inner battles and emotional weak points. Everyone has nights where the mind feels heavy. Everyone has moments of fear, exhaustion, and quiet collapse. Being human includes being vulnerable, but being wise means choosing where you place that vulnerability. Not every listener is a refuge. Some people don't listen to understand you. They listen to label you. They collect your confessions and store them like ammunition. Even if they never use it openly, they will see you differently. They will treat you as fragile. They will speak about you when you're not there. And the worst part is that you will feel it. Stoicism doesn't teach you to suppress emotion. It teaches you to handle it with discipline, to process it without turning it into public property. There are safe places to speak, a trusted mentor, a therapist, a friend who can hold your pain without gossiping about it. But if you spill your inner world everywhere, you teach people where to strike when they want control. Your heart is not a microphone, it's a temple. A temple is not closed because it hates visitors. A temple is guarded because what's inside is sacred. Protect your emotional life, not to become harder, but to become steadier. If this is helping you, subscribe to DVT Lucas Official. It will genuinely improve your life because you'll build the habit of protecting your inner peace and growing in maturity one calm lesson at a time. Thing 4, your financial situation. Money is one of the fastest ways to distort relationships. If you tell people you're struggling, some will pity you, and pity is not respect. Others will judge you, and their judgment will sit in your mind like a stain. If you tell people you're doing well, many won't celebrate. They'll compare, they'll resent, they'll quietly compete. Either way, you lose your center. You start living inside other people's reactions, and that is exactly what Stoicism tries to free you from. Seneca, who understood wealth from the inside, warned that money is a good servant but a terrible master. When you obsess over money publicly, whether through complaints or bragging, you let it become your master. You let it define your mood and your identity. This doesn't mean you should never seek advice. It means you should choose carefully who gets access. Speak to professionals, speak to people with wisdom and discretion, but don't undress your financial life in front of a crowd. Your situation can change. Your label in other people's minds is harder to change. Financial silence is not shame. It is strategy. It is self-respect. Thing 5, other people's secrets and what they trust you with. When someone confides in you, they are handing you something fragile. Treating it casually doesn't just betray them, it erodes your own character. Because the person who can't hold a secret is not merely honest, they are undisciplined. The first time you repeat someone's private story, you might call it harmless. You might say, "I didn't mention names." But the damage doesn't depend on names. It depends on trust. And once trust cracks, it rarely returns with the same warmth. Stoicism is built on virtue, and virtue includes loyalty. Loyalty isn't loud, it isn't performed, it's proven in what you refuse to say. The mature person doesn't carry stories that don't belong to them. They don't turn someone else's vulnerability into entertainment. Every time you protect a confidence, you strengthen your reputation and your self-control. You become someone people can lean on without fear. That is real power, and it's rare. Thing 6, the private details of your relationship. What happens inside a relationship belongs to the relationship. The moment you bring outsiders into every conflict, you invite their opinions into a space that should be sacred. You and your partner may argue today and reconcile tomorrow, but the third person who heard your complaint will remember only the worst version of your partner. You forgive, they don't. You move forward, they stay stuck. And, slowly, without noticing, your relationship becomes a public project. People begin to advise you, judge you, influence you. Some will enjoy the drama. Some will subtly push you in directions that fit their beliefs, not your bond. Yes, there are moments when perspective helps, but choose wisely. A wise mentor, a mature friend, a professional, not a gossip, not someone who feeds on chaos. Because every outside voice becomes a shadow in your home. Talk to your partner, not about your partner. Protect intimacy the way you protect fire from wind. Because love exposed too often loses its warmth. Love protected becomes deeper, calmer, and stronger. Thing 7, your life online, especially the parts that should stay yours. Social media turns your life into a stage, and the more you perform, the more you forget how to live without an audience. You start measuring moments by how they look instead of how they feel. Food cools while you capture it. Vacations turn into content. Joy becomes a pose. The Stoics spoke about an inner citadel, a place inside you that remains untouched by noise. Today, that citadel is under constant attack by notifications, comparisons, and the hunger to be seen. The problem isn't sharing, The problem is needing to share. Not everyone watching you is celebrating you. Some are comparing, some are judging, some are waiting for you to slip. And every time you expose your private world, you give strangers a map of your mind. Freedom isn't posting everything. Freedom is knowing what not to post. Some joys grow only in silence. Some wins are meant to be felt, not displayed. The calmer you become, the less you need proof. So be intelligent with your visibility. Let some light show, but don't let your life become public property. Keep your inner life yours. Here's the truth that ties all 7 together. Peace is protected, not advertised. The biggest transformations don't begin with noise, they begin with restraint. A seed grows in silence. A decision is forged in silence. Strength gathers in silence. And the ultimate Stoic skill is not controlling the world, it's controlling yourself, your words, your impulses, your need to be understood by everyone. Because the person who can govern their tongue can govern their destiny. If you want to live with more power and less anxiety, choose privacy with intention. Share less, explain less, perform less, build more. And if you want daily reminders that help you stay grounded, subscribe to DBT Lucas Official. Your life will improve as you build the habit of protecting your inner peace and growing in maturity. Now, comment below. Today, I choose silence.